Welcome to HDTV. You're now rocking with your boy. Tulsa Race Massacre Commission ousts the Oklahoma governor. The 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre Centennial Commission removed Governor Kevin Stitt from the panel just days after he had signed a bill that banned the teaching of certain concepts about race. Government Kevin Stitt of Oklahoma has been ousted from a commission set up to commemorate the centennial of the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. Just days after he signed legislation that commission members said would undermine their goal of teaching the state's painful history of racial discrimination, in a statement on Friday, the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre Centennial Commission said its members had met on Tuesday and had agreed through consensus to part ways with Mr. Stitt, a Republican. The statement did not offer a reason, but said that no elected officials or representatives of elected officials had been involved in the decision. While the commission is disheartened to part ways with Governor Stitt, we are thankful for the things accomplished together. The statement said the commission remains focused on lifting up the story of Black Wall Street and commemorating the centennial. Mr. Stitt's office said in a statement that his role had been purely ceremonial and that he had not been invited to attend the meeting until this week. It is disappointing to see an organization of such importance spend so much effort to sow division based on falsehoods and political rhetoric 2 weeks before the centennial and a month before the commission is scheduled to sunset, the statement said. The governor and first lady will continue to support the revitalization of the Greenwood district, honest conversations about racial reconciliation and pathways of hope in Oklahoma. Mr. Stitt was removed from the commission after he signed legislation on May 7th that would ban the teaching of certain concepts about race in Oklahoma schools, a measure that was seen as a part of a larger conservative backlash to the teaching of critical race theory. Commission members had vocally opposed the legislation, and one of them, State Representative Monroe Nichols, resigned from the panel on Tuesday, saying the governor's signing of the bill had cast an ugly shadow on the phenomenal work done during the last 5 years. Governor Stitt has chosen to align himself with folks who want to rewrite or prohibit the full intellectual exploration of our history, which is in direct conflict with the spirit of the commission I joined several years ago. Mr. Nichols, a Democrat, wrote in his resignation letter. Phil Armstrong, the project director of the Centennial Commission, had also criticized the legislation, writing in a letter to Mr. Stitt that it chills the ability of educators to teach students of any age and will only serve to intimidate educators who seek to reveal and process our hidden history. How do you reconcile your membership on the Centennial Commission with your support of a law that is fundamentally contrary to the mission of reconciliation and restoration? Mr. Armstrong wrote in a letter dated Tuesday, the law bans Oklahoma teachers and school administrators from requiring or making part of a course a number of concepts about race. The banned concepts include the notion that any person, by virtue of his or her race or sex, is inherently racist, sexist, or oppressive, whether consciously or unconsciously. It also bans teaching of the concept that a person, by virtue of his or her race or sex, bears responsibility for actions committed in the past by other members of the same race or sex, and that meritocracy, or traits such as a hard work ethic or racist or sexist or were created by members of a particular race to oppress members of another race. The law also says that students in Oklahoma's public higher education system cannot be required to engage in any form of mandatory gender or sexual diversity training or counseling. Now, more than ever, we need policies that bring us together, not rip us apart, Mr. Stitt said instead in a videotaped statement explaining his signing of the bill. As governor, I firmly believe that not 1 cent of taxpayer money should be used to define and divide young Oklahomans about their race or sex. He added that the bill endorsed the teaching of the state's academic standards, which were written by Oklahoma educators, and include events like the Tulsa Race Massacre, the emergence of Black Wall Street, Oklahoma City lunch counter sit-ins, and the Trail of Tears. We can and should teach this history without labeling a young child as an oppressor or requiring he or she to feel guilt or shame based on their race or sex, Mr. Stitt said. The Centennial Commission was formed in 2015 to commemorate and educate residents about the 1921 massacre, in which white mobs slaughtered black residents in Tulsa and destroyed a prosperous black business district known as Black Wall Street. As many as 300 black people were killed and more than 1,200 homes were destroyed. Members of the Oklahoma National Guard arrested black victims instead of white looters. Photos taken at the time show black people being marched down the street at gunpoint, their arms raised over their heads. So basically, you know, when I do stories like this, it really hits home because me being from the South, basically to me, why would you ban the teachings of what your people used to do? And this is the problem I have with white people. And white people play the victim all the time, and they always want to say that we're racist. How are we racist when you're the one who put us in this crap of a hole called America? Which it is. It's a crap. It's nothing but a crap heap. If you're of another nationality, if you're from overseas, or if you're white, it works in your favor. But if you're a bred black person born on this tainted soil, you're basically seen as a Negro and as something below a dog. A dog has more rights than you. Those little Chihuahua or poodles have more rights than you. They'll at least be told to go home, or they'll be taken into a shelter. Us, we're going to be gunned down. And then along the way, we're going to be given the middle finger of, oh, well, it was another black guy. They just write it off as a gang-related something. That's what they do in the big cities, especially back in the day when a black person was killed, they just said gang-related when black person wasn't even in the gang. Black person was a guy or a woman who went to school, did everything they're supposed to do. And this is the problem I have. You're trying to hide, and this is what they're doing. They've been whitewashing for years. What they're trying to do is erase the history because they don't want their kids to see how much of devils that them and their ancestors are. That's why they don't really teach you about what happened in the days of the Greeks, the Romans. They tell you certain stuff, but they try to keep that other stuff out of it because all white people are is violent immigrants. They're nothing but thugs. Those who are real thugs are them. Now, do you have some white people that are good? Yes. I think there are 20, maybe 15 to 20% white people that are good out of the other percent. I believe the majority of them are racist. I believe the majority of them are hitting racist. I think some of them marry black women or black men just to be like, oh, I'm in, or they're trying to make it seem like, oh, well, I don't hate black people. Look, I'm married to my black wife. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that is very, very, very crazy that's going on in this world, and especially America. America has always been terrible. And I also blame this on not only Governor Stitt, but the guy who's in charge of the corporation that is the US of A. We're a part of the US, which is the United States. We're a part of the states that is united. The USA is nothing but a corporation. It's two different entities. It's two different things. We're not a part of the US of A. We're part of the United States. The US of A is something that deals with business, that deals with the corporation, the running of America, which is a corporation. That's what America has turned into. And when your lead guy is helping the gay society or helping the transgender society, but doesn't give a damn about helping the black people or those who are black sustain or have the ability to be able to grow within this America is downright hypocritical. How are you going to tell us to do better, but then when we try to do better, you're blocking us out of the top-notch jobs, like that's a trade, like mechanical work, engineering, all of this type of stuff where you don't want us to be on that level. You don't want to promote that. All you want to promote is us being athletes or being track stars and stuff like that, or being rappers, or selling drugs and dope that you put in the neighborhoods. And I give a shout out to Willie D. Willie D is the only one I've seen, and that's just me. If anybody else who's a content creator has talked about this, I apologize. I'm just going off of what I've seen on my timeline. So I'm not going to say that. Willie D is the only person I really seen because he's on my timeline. There's a lot of guys I have not seen talk about this stuff. And this is what the travesty is. This is the mind of the machine. And the machine continues destroying us from within. How are you going to teach your kids to do better if you're not going to teach them what was worse? That's what you're supposed to do as a parent. You're supposed to teach your kids what to do so they don't follow what you did when you were younger. You don't want to show the heinous things you did. You don't want to show what you done to those blacks, the black people, the black community in Tulsa. Every time we open up our own businesses, every time we open up our own type of stores or open up our own things in the community, it gets torn down by you because white people are afraid of us. They don't want us to know the truth. They don't want us to know the truth. Carcino for Life, if you're not subscribed to his Patreon, you need to get on there because it's very informative. I don't care about the other stuff he has on there, but the thing I love about it is the education. And I tell Carcino all the time when I see him, man, thank you for the education. I'm paying my $25 a month. I don't care. Even if I'm broke, I'm still going to pay that $25 because you know why? It's a black man who's doing something constructive, trying to help those who are younger than him. You know, that's big brother there. So I'm little brother. He's teaching me something. Unbeknownst to him, he has inspired a lot of us. He's inspired a lot of us to have our own content channels, to speak our truths, to be ourselves. And people will be like, well, you're trying to sound like him. I am a part of Carcino. That's my brother. That's my black brother. That's my brethren. I'm a part of Detroit Tea. That's my brother. All of us may not have came out the same sack of the male who bred us, and the mom basically held us in the oven for us to bake, and then now we're out. But we're still brothers through bloodline as far as us being blacks in a racial place, in a hit place called America. We have got to get out of this. We have got to get out of this notion that just because we're not from the same sack that I can't help you. Because we didn't come out the same vagina that I can't help you. I am not perfect. I've never been perfect. I've never tried to be perfect. I have had a lot of faults and flaws in my life. And you know what? I don't blame anybody but myself. I don't walk around with that attitude of I hate everybody. No, I want to learn as well as teach everybody. But the thing I'm not going to cater to is the bull crap. And this is a part of the bull crap. You Negroes are marching for what? We've marched enough. When MLK passed away, that march was done. It was time for us to elevate. We're going to have to own our own stuff, but we're going to have to be quiet about it. We can't let them know what we're doing. Because the more you let them know what you're doing or you broadcast what you're doing, the easier it is for them to come and tear it down. They did Rosewood like that in Florida. Rosewood had a beautiful setting, you see, they don't talk about that movie Rosewood a lot. They don't never mention that movie a lot. Because you know why? White people don't want to be seen in that light. They want to be seen as the beholders. Just like with Christianity. Shout out to Carcino for Life. You have got to get on his Patreon. He talks about the birth of Christianity. And I had an idea of what happened, but he taught me a whole lot of things. That we were the original people who created the Christianity. And we're bowing down to these white Jesuses when these people are bowing to the black Jesus and the black fathers, the black Madonna. But we're on our knees praising a white Mary Magdalene who ain't nothing but a created figment of their imagination. And it's just sickening that we continue to go through this. And this is 2021. And you're trying to tell me that we've changed? Let me ask you something, Obama, since you put that slogan out there. Change is coming. What change? Oh, I know what the change was. To help the homosexual community. To help the transgender community, trying to make them like a race, give them the rights that a race would have. Well, let me tell you this, Mr. Obama and all these other presidents, and it's not just Obama's fault, because Obama was just a puppet or a pawn put in there to steer the black people the wrong way. He was nothing but a tool. So I'm not blaming him. The person I'm talking to is that overseer over him, who is that white, blue-eyed mother sucker who we don't see every day, who is the commander, not the commander-in-chief. He's the commander behind closed doors controlling that brain trust, which is the matrix, who controls America, which is 14, maybe 20 people who control it. But they want to make you believe that it's Donald Trump or it's Obama or it's Joe Biden pulling the strings when they ain't pulling nothing. They don't run nothing. Have you noticed they always have a speech prepared for them when they go up to the front of the room to say their speech? They got a teleprompter there because they're reading what that guy told them to do. If you watch Undercover Brother, it explains everything. The man. Everybody was laughing at it, but it's the truth. And you notice how the man was speaking a lot of black slang and everything. You know why? Because they want to be us. That's why they oppress us. That's why they talk bad about us, because they want to be us. That's why when they have sexual relations with a black man or a black woman, the white woman has it with the black man, or the white man have it with the black woman, or they may just do the same sex of a black man or the black woman. They may be lesbian or bisexual or whatever you call it. They may do that because they want to be black so bad. They want to be black. That's all they care about. They like, I gotta be black. I gotta have a taste of what that black feels like. But in public, they like, no, I don't want to deal with that, because they can't handle that pain or pressure. White people couldn't handle if the shoe was on the other foot and we were doing to them what they did to us. They couldn't handle it. They would break down. They would cry for help. They would die just thinking about that type of stuff. And that's the problem that we as a community are having. They done planted these seeds in our head. They've taken everything from us. Then they give us a lifeline saying, okay, here's a little job. You can work for minimum wage or enough money so you don't hang yourself. We'll give you enough income not to hang yourself. But then once you go over that, like you go over that pinnacle that they put for you, if they say we got you here at a cap to make only $20,000, $30,000 a year, but now you're making 6 figures or 7 figures. Oh no, they got to bring your black ass down. You doing too much. You got too much power. And that's what they're doing here in Oklahoma. That's what they've been doing in the U.S. And it's not just Oklahoma. It's a couple other states that have passed this law. And this is what's dangerous. And you guys have to subscribe to that Carcino Patreon, Birth of Christianity, because what he talks about is that how they changed our whole history, and they've been doing it. They whitewash everything because they want you to believe the white people are the creators and we are nothing but immigrants, when it's the other way around. They psychologically have screwed our heads up. And I'm going to keep talking about it. I don't care if I have 2 views. I don't need the fame. I don't care about that. I want to tell the truth. I want to keep spreading this truth, because that's what makes you real, when you have your soul. Soon as your soul is gone and compromised, who are you? You're just nothing but a carcass walking around waiting to lay rest in a damn box. Thank you for listening, and I'm out. Deezy.